What's up, my loves and fellow creatives? I hope we're all getting a good start to the day despite any circumstances and issues going on in the world and in our personal lives. I want to offer my deepest condolences because we're going to be working on a remembrance design. And let's see if my love and our fellow creative will be joining us. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and just start on the design. This is the one that I was telling y'all that I did a version for the comedians, and I wore it on one of those split blazers. I forgot to put my picture up. I have to grab it off of the phone. But it was an honor to create a piece like this and actually be able to wear it. And I'm sure we're going to do something very very similar and touching for this design as well. So I am downloading the photos right now. I think it's just going to be a couple of photos. And this is for a 1 hour design turnaround. So usually I put these as priority, try to get these out because I know you all need these like ASAP Rocky. So I'm doing the PNG, but I will be sending you the full Photoshop file as well, because I know it takes a lot to whenever you all say that yes, you want to see this live on Innate Lab YouTube, then even if you sign up for the PNG file, the Photoshop file is usually, I think, $20 more, but I go ahead and give you the Photoshop file because I really appreciate whether it's a birthday design, remembrance, it could just be something that you want to see done. It really does help others, and for you helping out and honoring us in that way, I like to honor you by giving you the Photoshop file. So then maybe after the fact, you can kind of relax and sit back and maybe go through some of the layers and have this as a resource for yourself for another project. Especially if it's, you know, something like a remembrance design, you may not have the capacity right now to play with it. So I want to make sure that you have it because I know that you all are very creative and you'll find a way to use it again in the future. Oh, you are welcome, my love. I got you. I got you. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to, let's see how the photos, we might need to remove the background. And let's see, I'm going to do a test here because sometimes Photoshop removes the background well and sometimes it doesn't. So we're going to do a little test, and if it doesn't do it to my liking, then, oh, I should have pulled that above these photos and kept my black and white and my levels on. Let's create a clipping mask there. Okay. Oh, this is a beautiful photo too. Oh, you're welcome, love. And if you ever have a 1 hour turnaround, please email me. Because sometimes the alerts don't come through until like right at the last minute. And if I can see it, if you email me, say, hey, Shannon, I just submitted a 1 hour 1 hour design, it helps me. So when you get that email saying that you'll be notified when it's done, go ahead and respond to it. Let me know it's a 1 hour. I'm working on a system. I'm actually paying a developer to develop a system that will kind of alarm us when those type of things happen and create a schedule for us. And right now that's in the process. So in the meantime, it just does like this little email, and y'all know we get a million emails a day. So I do my best to stay on top of it. And if I ever don't make a 1 hour turnaround, I really do make it up to you all, because I know how this is. A lot of times the time is key. The time is of essence. Yes, it's beautiful, goddess. Okay, so let's go ahead and see how Photoshop does with the cutout. So I'm just going to choose any of my selection tools here. It can be object, quick selection, or the magic wand. And you'll see an option here to select the subject. And what Photoshop is doing is using the algorithm to detect what's the foreground and what's not. And I think this did a decent job. The only thing I see that it did cut off was her earrings. And I'm going to do my best to add those back in. Just because, you know, as ladies, we feel a little naked sometimes when we're not wearing our earrings. So I want to respect that. Let me see if I can grab my pen tool here, and I'm going to kind of make a path, and then we'll add to this selection. It's going to be a little difficult because it's so light, but we'll make it do what it does. And right now I'm on the combined shape, so let's see if that works. To turn that into a selection with the 1 pixel radius, and then I'm gonna go ahead and create a layer just for the earrings, then do the selection, then I'll combine those. So I'm being real careful here. It's it's kind of hard to see where it's going, but I think once we do our cutout, it'll work. Oh, you know what? I should have done add to selection there. Let me go back a second. I didn't realize that was there for the path tool. Let's go back a moment. I'm going to close that path up, make it a selection, and then tell it to add to selection. I never read these pop-ups, and lo and behold, it was right there the whole time. I thought I was going to have to work even harder. All right, so let's do a selection here, and we'll add to selection. All right, so at least I got the outside of the earrings, and then in order to take off the inside of the earring, I'm going to, now that I know that dialog box exists, how long have I been doing Photoshop and never paid attention to what that said? You learn something new every single day. All right, so I'm going to do the selection here, and I'm going to subtract it from the selection and see how that works with the 1 pixel radius. Same thing here. And the reason why I like to use the pen tool, because it gives me the ability to create curves versus just clicking and ending up with those kind of angular selections. So let's go and subtract from selection. Okay. And we're going to, before we do anything else, we're not actually going to select just yet. We're going to go to select and mask, or we're not going to mask just yet. Let's go to select and mask and make sure that everything looks good. It's a little choppy for me, so I'm going to bring up the feathering and the smoothing just a bit. And I may have to select a little bit more with the earrings, but we'll see how it does as well. Now I'm going to hit refine hair because I want it to take the white out of the areas where the hair is, so we can see better texture. And let's feather that off just a little bit more. And I'm going to play with the contrast or shifting the edge. So let's shift the edge a little bit and see if that works out better. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and mask that off. Let's see how it looks. Here we go. And then there's a little bit of green tint, excuse me, a little bit of green tint here. So what I'm going to do, because we have 2 pictures, I'm going to kind of maybe match the skin tones a little bit better. So this one looks a little more like red tint and the green tint in the hair. So let me go to my adjustment layers, and we're going to do a hue saturation adjustment. And we have to right click and create a clipping mask so that it only performs it on this photo. Okay, so let's go and let's pick, I think that's going to be green there, but let's see. Yep, so see how I use my pick tool here and it picked the color greens. So I can turn the saturation all the way down and see where the greens are. See, I turn it all the way up, all the way down, and I still see a little bit of color right around about here, and that might be cyan. So I'm going to pick that color next just to see. That is actually considered the yellows, and we have yellow everywhere. So I'm going to tone the yellow down just a little bit. I could even change the direction or the hue of the yellows and the lightness here. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to lighten up the other picture just because anytime that you're doing any kind of melanated skin, I'm just going to be honest with you, you need to lighten the picture up a little bit because it's always going to press darker than what it looks on the screen. And you can ask my granny whenever I design her programs, she'll tell me, why my picture looks so dark? And I'm like, dang, granny, I forgot to lighten up the picture. And that's pretty much for any print method. I used to do journalism, and I was the editor-in-chief for the newspaper, and we would have to do the same thing to our photos just because, you know, you want to be able to see the contrast, see the skin tone, and anytime you print, it's an additive method, so it's going to be darker. Even when I print these blacks and they don't even look that dark black, it looks like a gray, it will put down so much of the dark ink that if I want to see a contrast, like in hair, or I want to see a contrast from my grays to my blacks, I have to make it look a little more intense of a color change or a gradation change. Otherwise, it just looks like all black, even when it's dark gray fading to black. All right, so let's see this image here. We're going to do the same method, see how Photoshop selects the subject here. And then I'm gonna do it on remove BG too, just to show you that difference. And this one we'll clean off the area here for the shoulder, because I think that's probably like another person right there. Let's see. Let's do selecting mask and see how neat that looks. And I'm going to do refine hair again just to see if it'll give me a little better details around the hair. And see how it's not smooth around here? I'm going to increase my smoothing a little bit, see if it kind of corrects that. But this is quite often why I'll use the pen tool to select, because I can create my own curves. So I'm going to see for demonstrative purposes what happens when we do remove BG. If it's going to give us a little more smoothing without having to play so much with the options. So there's photo 2. Let's see how that one fares. Uh-oh, maybe I didn't drag and drop it. Yeah, for some reason, and see, remove BG actually saved her earrings there. I'm telling you, I'm not ashamed to say that cutting out images can be very daunting. And in Photoshop, if it's a high resolution photo, it does well. And in this case, if it's a lower resolution photo, which it won't even let me do the HD because it's not like high pixels, Photoshop does not do well with the low resolution images. And you have to also understand a lot of times we're going to be dealing with the low resolution images because they might be like Facebook images, or something that someone has screenshot and then sent to us. So I really do appreciate Remove BG. I need to find my affiliate link for them because I've been pumping them hard for about a year now. And I need to find my link for them. All right, so I honestly like this better because I think it did a cleaner job, but let's just check. I'm going to say okay to this and go ahead and let it cut. And I'm just going to show you better than I can tell you. because some of y'all ask me why I use Remove BG even though I know how to cut things out in Photoshop. Um, Sometimes cutting images out in Photoshop, especially low resolution, is a lot harder than it initially looks. These were, I want to say, I cut some of these out in Photoshop because they had weird backgrounds, but for the most part, Remove BG cut my images that quick with no hassle. All right, so let's go ahead and let's pull the other images in so we can see if we like those better. So I'm going to pull in the PNGs now. And then I'll make it the same size. You see how it kind of cleaned up, even though the shoulder area is essentially a little jagged, it smoothed it out a little bit for us. Did a little bit of that work for us. Go into my move tool and deselect. You see that? Even the hair did a pretty job of cutting out the hair, even though it's a low resolution image. So, and the earrings, it preserved those earrings without having that little white there that I would have to manually pick that white out. So I'm happy with the Remove BG option. And then what I'm going to do is take this hue saturation from the previous photo where we pulled some of the green out of the hair. And then I'm going to right click and create a clipping mask to the Remove BG image. All right, I think that gives us better results there. All right, and then for this image, I'm gonna try to match up our skin tones and lightness here. Like I said, it will print darker than what you see on the screen though. Let's do an adjustment layer. We'll do a hue saturation first. We could also do levels, but if you happen to play with color, like the skin tone here, these are reds, and if we need to shift anything, make it more vibrant, that's how you turn up the saturation, make it less vibrant. Let's say it's just a little too red, you want to bring it down, then you would pull down the saturation. You can also lighten that color. Kind of adds white to the mix, and you can actually change the whole hue. So let's say if it's too red and you want to bring it to a different hue, you absolutely can. And I like her warm hue here. I'm going to check on my magentas as well, see where those are. And I'm actually going to pull the magentas down because I want to focus on the reds and probably, let's see if yellows are prominent in this one. See, the yellow is right where her shoulder is. All right, and I need to make sure that I clip this just to the photo that we're working on. And then any greens I can pull out. Cyans. I have a little bit there. I'm going to go ahead and pull those out. And any blues. And the hair naturally has a little blue, and it's a blue-black. So I'm definitely going to leave the blue alone. Put it back to 0. Okay. And now I'm going to use my levels as an adjustment layer just to lighten the picture up a little bit. There we go. And you'll notice that'll print a lot better. All right, and we're going to do text here. Let's go ahead and start organizing the layout here. This is going to be 13 by 19, so I'll crop it down in just a moment. All right. So let's turn off the comedians. We'll turn on the photo group. We'll turn on the stairs and these little clouds over the stairs here. And let's see how we want to do this layout. I'm looking for my other words. Okay, now I have always in our heart, so yay, absolutely. I'm so glad you're honored, and it is an honor for for you to have chosen me to even touch this project. I know that whenever we're working on these type of things, it can take a lot from us. So I'm honored that you handed this over to me to handle very carefully for you and to put even my love into it. And I can imagine she was a beautiful spirit, and she still is. And I'm positive she's going to be honored by you as well. I'm positive of that. And that's how we honor our loved ones. We get emotional and maybe even a little selfish sometimes in what we want for ourselves and to have these people in our lives, but it hasn't changed. She's still in your life. She's still present, probably now more than ever. And I think about this sometimes, when we're spirits, we don't have all of the inundating phone calls and bills and responsibilities. We can really focus on our loved ones. So she's able to focus on you now and give you that energy and help you and guide you. And I think that's a tremendous honor that she's happy to have for you. So she's here even in this moment, love. Let's see. What would you want to see for the text here? You want always in our hearts. You want anything that you want to put. I'll change the text to whatever you want. And if you want to keep the text as is, we can do that too. I'm just trying to figure out my placement right now for the photos. I definitely want them. I'm gonna take these clouds off. That's what I'll do. Then we'll bring them back if we need them somewhere. We'll bring them down. There we go. So they kind of float at the bottom of the stairs there. And then I'm going to turn on my layer mask just so that I know where my 13 by 19-ish layout is. Your rings were ready, our hearts were not. Got you, always. All right, so I'm going to take our always, and I'm going to, what I usually do is I'll duplicate that layer, duplicate that group. And then that way you'll have the always in our hearts, but we're going to change it right now. We'll change it to your wings were ready, and we'll put our hearts were not. And then I'm going to make sure that I copy and paste Michelle's name here because I don't want to misspell anything. And sometimes when we're looking at these type of projects, we're not thinking straight and we may not catch a misspelling. So my tip to you all is to always Always, always cut and paste where you can. All right. And we'll adjust this a little bit for the 13 by 19 as well. And then even with the dates, I copy and paste the dates if I can. Sometimes I have to type them out because they'll give it to me in the slashes, and then I'll have to go back and type it out as the formal date. But I have to be really careful when I do that. And because I don't think I have a date on this one, I'm going to take the Our Hearts Were Not. Alt click and drag, it's going to make a copy of it for me. I'll double click here and then change it to the dates. And then what's going to happen is when I shrink this down, these layer effects are probably going to be a little too intense, and I may have to scale them because I scaled down the text here. All right, and I'm going to bring this one. You need to bring it above the clouds. Here we go. And see how it's like way too intense? So we're going to change these effects, bring down the stroke, and sometimes we can just turn the stroke off in general. And then let's bring down the drop shadow, bring down that size and distance. And I think instead of, I might just do the white instead of the gold so that it just looks clean. And then maybe feather that shadow out just a little bit. Bring the distance in, and that just looks a little bit cleaner. It's not as ornate, but it doesn't compete with the design so much. All right, now again, we're going to make this more for the 13 by 19 setup. So I like when I have little elements that kind of hang out of my 13 by 19 frame. It just makes it look like I put a little bit more thought into it. Moving the stairs. I was supposed to be moving that cloud. Cloud over the stairs. There we go. All right, and now there is also a piece to this background that I have masked off right now. And it's basically, I'll show it to you, and then you can let me know if you want to keep it or not keep it. So I'm going to disable the layer mask. You see that black and white area there? So it adds this additional kind of visual contrast there. So let me know. I'll turn it off and turn it back on. Right, and that's it without it. I think this one, the reason why I took it out is because I was doing the cape, and well, it was not a cape. My brother kept calling it a cape, and then the whole night I started calling it a cape. I felt like Superman. All right, so it was a blazer, a split, they call it a split blazer, but because I wanted it in the front of the shirt, I kind of wanted it to look like it had a chest piece design. So I took this part out. But I'm going to build it back in there. You let me know what you think. Good deal, good deal. Okay, so let's take the text here, and I'm gonna do Control T. I'm gonna see if we wanna, because sometimes I'll break it up and I'll put Your Wings Were Ready at the top, Our Hearts Were Not, at the bottom. But it really just depends on how we're gonna focalize, and I don't know if focalize is a word, our images. So let's see. Definitely will make her name larger. And I really like this design. I probably don't work with it live as much as as much as some of the others, but I like the design because it looks regal, it looks fun, it looks designer, and I think a lot of people can, you know, use this for very, very different purposes. So let's take our clouds. Let me get my whole cloud group. Bring it down a little bit. There we go. And then I think I'm going to take these same clouds and drag and drop below the text. That way I have an extra little layer to break that up there. Okay. Now let's play with our photo where we want it to go. And let's see, both of these images are gorgeous. I think I like the black dress. I think it fits really, really well with the design because it's formal, it's classy. So let's make this one our main design. And then I'm going to clean off this area here. And I'm just going to use my pen tool just to kind of clean that off. Right. And then the other image, would you like it like watermarked in the background, or how about this? I'll just show you and then you tell me what you like about it. All right, so I'm going to take the second image and place it behind the first image. And then we're just going to move it around and see, because we can imagine things all day. And it's not until we actually get them in place that it's going to make sense for us. Bring this, scale this one down just a little bit. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and fade off the bottom of this image. So let's do a layer mask here. Let's grab a paintbrush and let's fade that off. And then here's where I was saying that we can do, let me group those together real quick. You can pull down the opacity and maybe even make it black and white to kind of give it more of a background watermark look to it. And let me do an adjustment layer. Let's do it black and white and see how you feel about that. And then of course we'll right click and create a clipping mask so that it only affects the photo layer. And then what we'll do is pull down the fill a little bit, see if you like it as a watermarked image. And usually even if I watermark it, I have a lot going on here. So I'll put some clouds or something behind it just to give it something to bounce off of. So let me take that cloud one there and show you what I'm talking about. I don't want the whole cloud, I wanted a copy of the cloud. I'm holding down Alt, clicking and dragging, and I'm going to put a little cloud here. And then I'm going to take this cloud and drag it behind the photo. Oh, if I can get to it. Here we go. Okay, and what that does is it kind of washes out the background a little bit with intention. It doesn't just look like I put a big old white spot there, but it allows our watermark image to show through a little bit better. So let me know if you want both images full color. Oh, you like that? Awesome. Oh, the pictures from your mom's wedding. Yes, yes. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, and then for the name, I'm going to take her name and place it above the clouds just because I feel like it should have a little more visibility there. There we go. And then now that we have this layout, I'll probably take this photo and make it a little bit larger. I'm going to bring it up just a tad bit. And then I'm going to take the Your Wings Were Ready, Our Hearts Were Not and shift that up a little bit. And then I'm going to rename this folder, Your Wings Were Ready. And let me do something else that I always forget. Let me check the spelling, make sure I didn't misspell anything. And then we can skip the things that are invisible because it won't matter. There we go. And that way we don't seem so cramped down here at the bottom. You can kind of see those stairs behind it now. And then for the dates, I'm going to put a little bit of space. Oh, that's not my dates. Put a little space there to kind of separate it. And then this usually allows me to kind of tuck it up underneath the text a little bit more. All right, and I think these stairs I need to pull in just a little bit more. So I'm going to take my stairs, Control T, and just push it in a little bit more because I'm getting real chancy with this edge over here. I'm trying it. You know, we always try to make things so big and then we end up upset when it cuts off. That's me. Go ahead and pull this in. There we go. All right, so I like my text overlapping, but I'm just giving it a little more space because it's covering up some of the letters a little too much for my liking. And then I'm going to go ahead and center the text here. So Your Wings Were Ready and Our Hearts Were Not. If I want to center them, I call this skewering this, like you're skewering on a barbecue. Just right there in the middle, and it's going to center it across that, about that center line. And same thing with the name and the dates. So I can even be in different groups and I can still center these things about one another. All right, perfect. Awesome, awesome. So yeah, let me know if there's anything else. Do you want me to? Sometimes people want to put like they want balance, so you might want something left and right. You'll lose your chains a little bit if we put something there, but let me know if this is good for you or if you need to update anything. Pulling it down just a little bit so I see some more of her hair. Now, I know this part is cut off because there's a person here, but I'm going to do something that hopefully makes it look a little less cut off, like a little less obvious, to make it look like maybe her arm is just behind her, right? So let's see. I'm just going to clean up. And make the dress look like it's just clean cut there, because it looks like she's standing next to someone, and like their image might be cutting off hers. So let's see if this helps us here. And let's do a layer mask. We're gonna hide the selection and see if that looks more realistic. There we go. It just smoothed it out a little bit. And now it looks like her arm is just behind her. Because I think it was just the edge of the photo and the person next to her cutting her off, but that looks better to me. All right. And thank you so much, love. I'm so glad you're appreciative. I'm honored to do this for you. If you would like, I'm gonna send you the Photoshop file. I'll leave my my legendary comedians in there for you if you like that. But I know our focus today is on the beautiful Miss Michelle here. So now this right now is an all over. I'm gonna go ahead and save as. Oh no, it's already saved as. So let me save it. And then I'm going to save it as a 13 by 19. So I'll send you both of these. You'll have the 13 by 19 and all over, and you'll have the comedians there. So if you want to make a cape later on down the line with the legendary comedians on there, they'll be there. You're welcome, love. All right, so here is a chance for me to show you how to take an all over and crop it down to a 13 by 19. First thing I'm going to do is save as, and then I take the word all over off, so I know it's 13 by 19. You can even put 13x19 there. All right, and then let's go ahead and crop this down. So when I hit the crop tool, I'm going to type in 13 and 19 as my ratio, and that's just going to give me the size of the crop, or not the size, but the ratio. So I'm still going to have to resize this afterwards. And what I'm looking for here is to keep enough white space around it so that I don't cut off my graphic whenever I do print it. So these days, I'm a lot more generous with the white space that I leave around it. I used to try to get so close, and then I would end up disappointing myself whenever I go to press it, because something will be cut off just a little bit. All right, that looks like it has everything in it. I'm going to hit enter to lock in my crop transformation, and let's see how it looks. There we go. Control 0 or Command 0 on the Mac is going to zoom us in to the artboard, and I just wanted to make sure everything was good with our dates and that I included everything that you asked me to, and I think I hit all the check boxes. So to save this as a PNG, I'm going to turn off the background now. And this reminds me, let me take these clouds just in case you wanted to print this as DTF or DTG or anything. You can clean up these clouds. I'm going to take the layer mask from the background and bring it up and drag it to the clouds. Well, I think that brought the whole layer. I just want the layer mask. So we put that on the clouds, and then we have one more cloud area to put that. So now my clouds are clipped in, my stairs are popping out. So this is what some of y'all were asking, why I don't just put the layer mask on the whole image. I can, but you see how my text is popping out a little bit? It makes it look a little more 3D. It's popping out from the frame a little bit. These stairs here are popping out from the frame a little bit. And if I were to just crop all of that inside of one mask at the very, very top layer, then I kind of lose, excuse me, I lose some of my design element. And let's see here. Is it my background? Yep. There we go. So I have enough kind of doing what I needed to do. So some things are in the frame, some things are out of the frame, and that's how we show off with sublimation because we want to show folks that we can do quite a bit more than your standard print on a rectangular opaque transfer, even though we probably all had to do that at some point in time. But when we're doing sublimation, we want to show off. So now I'm just checking, making sure everything's clean. Checking around, making sure I have nothing that's going to look cut off of the edges because we spent all this time to make it look like it has a soft, natural edge. So we would hate for this design to be out too far and just looks like it cuts off. And we wouldn't know it till we pressed it on a shirt. Okay, so that's why I put this contrast background on, but we can take it off now and turn this into a PNG. So let's go File, and I like to do Save As. I don't export PNGs because when you export PNGs, they end up being a different size. So I'm going to export it as, I'm going to save as a PNG, and it will preserve my ratio and my DPI. And that's it, love. I know, love. And here's the thing too, Gabe. Um, I I will tell you the thing that kept me sane when my dad passed away. I had the honor to do his programs. We did this beautiful canvas collage, which is actually a part of the academy. And I know he'll be really proud of that. Um, we also, it was something else that we printed up for ourselves, and it kept me so like involved in making sure it wasn't for me, like the energy that I felt. It was that I wanted to make sure, you know how we're so strong, we want to make sure everybody else is okay. um and at the time I think I was 26. I just wanted to make sure everybody else was okay. So I wanted to make sure that everyone had something beautiful that really represented him. We had just started our graphics business together in 2008, so that was 2 years before he passed away. And I wanted, like, his experience to be felt when people had those programs or had that artwork in front of them, and it worked. It worked. um, People to this day, ask me, hey, you still have, any more of your dad's programs? Because they embodied him that much because it was a love that we put into it. And they were really nice designs too. So put that love into it. It's definitely gonna take that effort, and it's gonna take that energy from you. But I guarantee you, what you're doing this for, the purpose is a lot stronger the than the hurt. It is. Yep, I promise you. And it'll keep you busy. To just be honest with you, it'll keep you busy. And you're busy doing something that you love to do. You're doing it with your heart. And I'm sure that she's going to feel this too. And again, love, my condolences. I'm very, very sorry for your loss. And I know that this is hard task for you, but you are going to handle this beautifully. Okay? I know you will. And I'm going to go ahead and send this over to you because I feel like you probably have quite a bit on your shoulders. I know how this type of thing happens. And then everybody loves it when you get to proof it and show it to them. And then they want to come at you with last minute orders and confusion and all that good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and get this over to you so you can get started. And like I said, you have the Photoshop file. So if you need to, like if you're creating a dog tag, let's say you're not able to put your wings are ready, our hearts were not on there, like you just want to put her name and the dates on there, then you can redo this graphic so that it works for the dog tags. Take off the layer mask there, and then that way you can do a full bleed print. Okay. What else you say? You're doing masks. So same thing with the mask. When you have a template for the outline of the mask, you can drag and drop all of these layers. As a matter of fact, I'll group them for you. Oh, it's already grouped. So see how it's one big old group? Just drag it over, drag this whole group over into your dog tag setup, drag the whole group over into your mask setup, and then that way you can move the individual elements. The background might need to be wider, and you might want to put less words or no words on it. So you'll have all those layers, okay? So let me stop talking. I'm gonna go ahead and save. You know, I can only do two things at once. I'm literally sitting here moving my hands around in the air and not touching the keyboard or the mouse at all. So I'm saving this. I already have it saved as a PNG for you, and I am sending this your way. All right, loves, I may have a couple of other projects, designs that people want to do live today. For the most part, that's why I say y'all are brave too, because when you all say yes that we can do it live on YouTube, it helps others. So I definitely like to reward you all for that. So let me go on and send these over. If I have any more live designs today, I will, it's usually on the fly, so I'll just post that I'm going to do a live design, and hopefully y'all can meet me here. Otherwise, 8 p.m. tonight, anybody that's interested in large format design, I'm going to do a table talk, like it's a round table. We're just going to get a few members who've been through the all over transition of their businesses, getting the printers, the heat presses, just dealing with the customers and cut and sew. So I'm really excited. Even if it's just a couple of us just hanging out and talking, I think we're going to get a lot of information from this. And I'm hoping to make a decision on which large format heat press I'm going to get at the end of our conversation tonight. So if y'all are interested in that, I want you to please tune in. It will be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. Yes, Tiffany, the colors can be changed. As a matter of fact, I have a whole video. That template is on, it's not a part of the Academy, it's on the regular Innate Lab website. And I have a whole YouTube video showing you how you can change the colors. And, or is that one? Yeah, that one is on the Innate Lab website. But absolutely, you can change the colors on that. So, yay, do you have the Geonite? That's the one I'm thinking of, the Geonite. Now there is a manual and there's a pneumatic, and the price difference between the two of them is pretty dramatic. And I don't know if I was just freestyling just now, but yeah. So that's what I'm looking at. The Geonite large format, just because it's, you know, single phase, you know, plug in. It's American made, and their customer service is really really great. Geonite and the Stalls Hottronics brands have very very good customer service from what I understand. I have a press that I've had almost what 15 years, and they still to this day, even though like the heat platinum or whatever is out of warranty, it has a lifetime warranty as far as their tech support. So if something's going wrong, they walk you through it, and even if you have to buy a part, they will explain to you exactly how to replace those parts or what you may need. Yeah, well, you know, you got a best. I'm looking for a best friend that I can I can use a pneumatic press. So y'all find me a best friend here in this Jacksonville area. So I may not even have to purchase this big old thing. And the thing is, I don't do a lot of that type of work because I don't do brick and mortar anymore, and I haven't been advertising large format pressing so much because I had used my 16 by 20, and it's a little aggravating. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little aggravating to do those four presses. So I do it if people ask me to, but I don't advertise it. So if I were to get that big old press, you best believe I need the business to support that type of purchase. Same thing with the large format printer. I tile printed for a little while until I started getting enough orders in to justify the purchase of a large format printer. And then I bought the large format printer. So those are things that we're going to talk about tonight too. Like when you know it's time to move up, you got enough customer recommendation, how long it would take you to basically pay it off, depending on what your jobs look like, how many orders you have coming in for that type of thing. And in the meantime, what you can do to make it look like you have that type of operation. So either you can outsource somebody else printing and pressing the shirts, You can, I even have an option where you can buy the big prints from me. And that's just so that you can press them on, excuse me, you can press them on demand and go ahead and order the prints that go all the way up to from a small to a 3X, have them on deck. And then that way, when they say, oh, well, I need 3 larges instead of a large and a medium and an extra large, then you don't have to worry about those prints not fitting the shirts. The prints are going to fit a small to a 3X and you'll be ready to go. You get enough of those orders and you're like, shoot, I'm tired of paying Shannon for these prints. Then that's your time. That is your time to invest in your large format setup. And then I got the inks and the cartridges and everything for you to convert the 7270s. So I like to help y'all all the way around. If you're printing from the 13 by 19 printers, I got a solution for that. I have the magic split, insta split, insta tile type of setup. And you just put your image into that template and it splits up your small, medium, and larges into 4 templates, your extra large 2X and not template sheets into 5 sheets. So 4 sheets or 5 sheets, you're going to get most sizes printed. So I like when y'all tell me what bothers you, what is some of your hangups for business, my job is to try to figure out a solution. And it makes me happy to figure these solutions out for you all. So yay, and we're gonna have to get together too. I want to. Yep, I feel you because you want to have space for that thing. Definitely. So yeah, let me give you a little plug right now, if you don't mind. You know, brag on yourself a little bit. Let us know what you teach. If you have a website where you teach, YouTube channel, Facebook group, go ahead and let us know. Sharon, I know those stoves. Matter of fact, I have some to do today. And yeah, the stoves with the 16 by 20, I actually use my big board, the same big board that I use for the all overs. And then I use the Nomex felt, which I think I'm going to do a demonstration of that today because I have some of these stoves to press. So don't know if I'll do it live, but I will show me doing those stoves, kind of like an upgraded video from the last one I did last year with all of my pitfalls and all of that stuff I've learned so far. Sharon, absolutely. I do have videos setting up for sublimation. I have setting up the printer. I have, let's say, if you want to know how to do the stoles and you want to see that done from start to finish, the socks, all over t-shirts. If you just kind of search in that search bar for Innate Lab, I'm sure you'll find something. I have a video showing you all how to calibrate your systems. That's probably the one that I tell people it might not be the most fun video, but it calibrates your monitor color, then it calibrates, or not calibrates, but it sets up your printers, especially your 7710s and 20s for the proper settings for the True Colors ink. And most inks that claim that they don't need an ICC profile, those are the settings you want to go with. And then one more thing. Oh, and it shows you the Photoshop settings when you're printing from Photoshop. That video, just look up the word calibrate on the Innate Lab YouTube, and that's a good setup video. That's good for setting up your system. Now, when you want to set up the printer itself, like refilling the cartridges and that sort of thing, I have a separate video for that. And I have a video showing you how to do the big boy printer, the 7270, how to refill and set those printers up. And then I have one, of course, for the 7210s and 20s. Yeah, I feel you on that those error codes on the 7710s, you may be able to find some firmware or something that can override that error and allow you to kind of bypass it. But yeah, and I don't completely suggest the 7820s and 40s right now because I got some cartridges in, so that's exciting. I forgot to tell you I got those in yesterday. So some of you have been looking for the cartridges that have the chips. Now the chips and the cartridges pretty much cost the same thing. They're very expensive, and it's because Epson has not released You know, they basically have an agreement with a lot of these suppliers that they can't sell the compatible chips for this system yet. So they are extremely expensive, but I have them for those people who need them. Some people, Epson basically sent them a replacement printer, so their 7710s went out of commission, and Epson just said, "Hey, well, here's the 7820." And they're like, well, the 7820 doesn't have a refillable cartridge and the ARC chip, the automatic resetting chip. So you're stuck. So in this case, I have some cartridges for that. I'm going to go ahead and post them up probably this evening. So, okay. And my niece would like to say hi to you all.
Hi.
And she's getting ready to do her work for the day. But she's doing a little bit with us too, and also joining us for the summer. We're going to do some Innate Lab Kids stuff, so y'all will get a chance to see her in action. All right, baby, I love you.
Love you too.
All right, so that'll be fun. And the Innate Lab Kids stuff will also be for those elementary level sublimators who might be a little scared and need a little bit of a stepping stool before jumping full on into what we've been doing. So it's going to help kids and grown folks alike. You're welcome. All right, so I've just been talking. I haven't sent my girl her files yet. So let me go ahead and send these files. Well, you know, we're getting to that time. So Eva says thank you. So I appreciate y'all. I love y'all dearly. I'm gonna check back in later on today, okay? Definitely by 8 o'clock, I'll be back for our table talk. And hopefully, I'll have something for you on these stoles and maybe even this 7820 situation. So I ordered me a 7820. I don't need it, but I bought it just to see how it works with these cartridges and give y'all my honest opinion. Before I sell anything, I have to test it. So y'all will see that test probably this week, okay? All right. Well, I'll holler at y'all real soon. Until next time, bye.